And welcome back to the Dollar Boys Dynasty Football Podcast. Your original co-host here, joined by my buddy SC Romero, partner of mine over at RPO Football. Uh,
Sure.
Ryan couldn't join us tonight, sadly. Had some work schedule changes going on, but my buddy SC decided to fill in. Great quality football analyst here, guys. I'm gonna let him explain a little bit about himself. Tell you where you can find his content at.
For sure, man. I appreciate that introduction. Really love it. Yeah, man. Work with you at RPO. You can find some articles on there. Just did some buy sells of my guys that I sell high, buy low at the PPR. So on Twitter, you can find me out on YouTube too. The PPR. So with SC Romero. I also do some side work with Dynasty Pros. I work with them as far as on their YouTube channel as well. But here to talk some football, man. I already know you have some great knowledge as well. Just going through the chat and chatting about different players and things like that. But here excited to talk about this 2022 draft. I think a lot of things changed from what we had it prior to.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna let Ryan do his talk, but I just want to tell you, RPO, we have some abundance of talent in the RPO organization. A lot of us are invited to play in the all prestigious Scott Fish Bowl. Just want to give us a shout out to Scott Fish, everybody over there. Uh, I let Ryan be able to talk about that for him, but me, I took the 2 slot in the Mission Barbecue division. I know you are in the Blow Pop division.
Yes, sir.
I can't remember your draft slot though.
I took the third, man, and the 101 was available while I'm there. So I know who I want to get at third. Hopefully he falls there, but also know if he doesn't fall there, that means a 101 or 102 fell. So I'm
Yeah,
comfortable at 3.
I think we have like 7 people playing in the Scott Fish,
Yeah.
and then of course
Mhm.
I'm excited to come back and play in the Warrior Bowl as well. Another great charity tournament, so that we got that to look forward to.
Nice.
And also for anybody that wants to know, me and Ryan just accepted an opportunity to work with Yards Per Fantasy, another fantasy organization that wanted to pick us up and produce content for them. We are still producing content and dynasty and redraft rankings over at RPO. So excited for this opportunity. Thank you guys over there. All right. SC, you want the first pick and we'll do a 10 slot. You want the first pick? You want to talk about the first pick or you want me to do it?
I mean, I'll go ahead and do it, the 101, 22 redraft or doing the draft over. I really think you're still going Brees. I think he is that unanimous. And to be honest, if it wasn't Brees, I might go Garrett Wilson. So regardless, you're going a Jet here. Even though he got hurt last year, we saw what he's capable of, on the passing and on the running. He can do it all. He's a great back. When he's healthy, he's there. And I'm not really worried about, Michael Carter or Israel Abedikanda now. I think Brees is still the RB1 of that class, and if he's healthy, he's gonna be a monster. We haven't seen a full season yet of him. He comes back fully healthy. I mean, he's gonna blow it out the water. He's gonna be a top 3, top 2 dynasty running back. I think you're still going Brees Hall here.
Yeah, I totally agree. Brees Hall was my ride or die last year. Traded for him, traded to acquire him wherever I could. Brees Hall's a monster. Averaged over 17 fantasy points per game. Was involved not only in the running game, had 400-yard games on that. He also had a 100-yard receiving game, multiple games with 7 targets or more. Believe it or not, in that 5-week span when he got the full role, he was tops in the league in explosive run rate,
Mhm.
10 plus or carries over 10 plus yards, and on top of that, uh, what you want to see is the 3 down workhorse back style. His pass protection was elite. Getting to play with Aaron Rodgers now, and getting that, he heavily utilized Aaron Jones his whole career. I'm very excited to see Brees Hall healthy and to see Brees Hall play with Aaron Rodgers and this Jets offense in general. So,
And nothing to knock on Aaron Jones, but I mean, Brees Hall could already be better than him, right? So if we saw what
absolutely.
Aaron Rodgers did with Aaron Jones, he does the same kind of caliber of offense with Brees Hall. I mean, it's to the moon. I mean, Aaron Jones was top 10 all the time.
To the moon. Can't wait, baby. Can't wait. I'm staying in the same offense. 1-2 on the clock, baby. Give me Garrett Wilson. Not even a question. Um, this is a guy I'm acquiring everywhere. I mean, we saw a monster rookie year. Monster rookie year. And that's with the 30th best QB performance. Whether we talk about Zach Wilson, we talk about Mike White, we talk about Joe Flacco. And honestly, he played better with Mike White and Joe Flacco. I'd rather have seen them play all year.
For
Uh,
sure.
for a rookie to come in and demand 147 targets. Now, granted, the wide receiver room wasn't special to me, but it speaks volumes. He demanded 147 targets. His presence was there. He was working it. He had almost 14 yards per catch. Um, the dude, he was like 95th percentile against man coverage. I want to say he sat at like 87% against zone coverage. Elite peripherals, speed, yak monster, elite route runner.
Mhm.
There's nothing that this kid can't do. This kid is
Agreed.
special.
Agreed. I mean, the pre-draft process, he is my wide receiver one of the class. I got him at 103 in some leagues, because you were going Kenneth Walker back then. But I mean, I think we saw the elite skills, everything that we were talking about him in the pre-draft process of him potentially being wide receiver one just across the board with other ones in there. It came true. His separation is there. His speed is there. His quickness. He's smart. He knows what to do at the right time, whether it's at the press coverage or just finding the open area. And this is something where we know Aaron Rodgers feeds his wide receiver one. He's gonna feed Garrett Wilson, and Garrett Wilson is a smooth player. He avoids
Smooth.
getting that quite contact, right? He knows how to be sliding through the defenders. I'm excited to see this explosion. Both of them healthy all year. This is going to be a phenomenal time in the Big Apple. I think that's a great pick.
Absolutely. I can't remember the game specifically. I want to say it was the Giants game, and it was Xavier McKinney 1-on-1 and with like the 5 yard line. And my man, my man beat him to the pylon by 4 yards, and we're at the 5 yard line. We got 9 yards to play with. I
Right.
was like, bro, what?
Yeah.
It's like it was crazy.
He's quick, man, and
He's
you
so
don't really
quick.
see that as much, like just how he moves and how quickness. It's either like that go route quickness, or it's just you're smoothing the cuts. But he's like fast making the cuts too. I mean, he
Yeah,
blink, he's gone.
Brian, dude, Brian Hartline is so blessed as a wide
Mhm.
receiver coach at Ohio State. It's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
yeah, man. If you go into what they're bringing in, I mean, he's just feeding them out. Olave, Marvin Harrison Jr. coming out. There's some guys coming up, but it's like Garrett Wilson is, just before that. I mean, he's starting to show the pinnacle of what this Ohio State
Mhm.
wide receiver room could do with
It's
Hartline, which is
crazy,
awesome.
man. Hey, buddy, you got the 1-3, baby.
Yes, sir. This was interesting because I really like Olave, and if we're not talking about changes or anything just based off the season last year, I don't want to take him, even though he did really good there. I'm not really the fan of the quarterbacks quite yet, so I think you still gotta go Kenneth Walker. I think that's still a good running back, even though they did get Charbonnet. I mean, this guy averaged 4.6 yards per carry. He did show he can break tackles like he did at Michigan State. This is going to be a phenomenal running game in general, and I think if anything, Charbonnet actually helps him because he's not having to be a 3 down back. He's a smaller guy. So having Charbonnet in there to get some rest will keep him electric, keep him elusive. He had 9 touchdowns last year, and he only played 15 games, so he missed two. You know, he wasn't as much involved in the receiving game, but that's okay because again, if he's more effective because he's rest and he doesn't use up the energy being a 3 down back, then that's definitely worth it. You have a guy that can still get over 1,000 yards and not gain the full workload. Kenneth Walker is it. So I think you got to take him at 103.
I'm fine with that. A lot of people are on the Zach Charbonnet hype. Not really me. I know a lot of people look into the draft cap, but to be honest with you, I've seen this play out in Seattle with Pete Carroll. Rashad Penny was supposed to be a generational type running back, a running back taken in the first round, and it was Chris Carson that won the job.
Mhm.
Obviously, I think Kenneth Walker, his running peripherals, some things like red flags stick out. But when we're talking about explosive runs and things like that, like he also sticks out in that area as well. Um, Zach Charbonnet wasn't a guy that stood out to me in my pre-draft process, so I'm not too worried. I think Ken Walker is the right pick. You're absolutely right. I do. A lot of people are scared, and I'm not gonna say I don't get it, but I'm not gonna shy away from a player that I really like pre-draft process and
Mhm.
played well in the league. I'm just not gonna do that. I think Ken Walker is the right pick.
Yeah. I mean, you go back to Arian Foster and Ben Tate. We might see that kind of duo, and that
Sure.
doesn't knock Kenneth Walker down any further. It might even increase his stock, So I think
Right.
a good pick at 103.
And I mean, I heard too. They were like, I heard from like the offensive coordinator over in Seattle and Pete Carroll. They're like, I'd like to get Ken anywhere from 17 to 20 touches a game.
Hmm.
I'm fine with that. How many running backs today are getting 17 to 20 touches a game? How
Right,
many? We don't have those full workload running backs like we used to 10 years ago.
for sure.
So, well, he's here at 4. I'm taking Olave. I'm
Yeah.
going back to wide receiver U. I'm gonna go take Olave here. A
Mhm.
receiver that stood out to me. This was more Ryan's guy. But I will say when I watch Olave, he is very smooth. He's very polished. His route running is very polished in all levels of the field. He led the all rookies last year in air yards. He had a phenomenal year playing with a mix of Jameis, Andy Dalton. I mean, we all know the situation. Now bring in Derek Carr, who over the last 5 years has produced a wide receiver one or a tight end one.
Mhm.
Michael Thomas health issues, obviously. Kamara suspension looming. We don't know what that's going to play out like. Um, Olave is your alpha here, and I think Olave is going to dominate targets. And I'm excited to see him play with Derek Carr. I'm so excited for Olave.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good pick. I think um, as we were talking about Aaron Rodgers, with his wide receiver one, Derek Carr's the same way. And I believe it's been 3 years in a row where he has one receiving option that has over 1,000 yards, and over 9 touchdowns. Who's gonna be the one in New Orleans? Olave. Even with the healthy Mike Thomas, Olave is gonna be utilized. They saw what he can do, and this is now his team. I feel like, right? So I think it's going to be a phenomenal year. And honestly, this may be a jump, just because I don't know, the run game isn't there in New Orleans like it can be there in New York, right? So this could be a jump where Olave actually outproduces Garrett Wilson just simply because he gets more opportunity, with more receptions, more targets, things like that. So no, I think that's a great pick. And I think the top four, if anyone like wanted to interchange them, I'm not mad at it. I think those
Right.
are all phenomenal picks there.
Absolutely. So this is where like things can get dicey and we can go about whoever we want. So I'm pretty excited to see who you take at 5 here.
Yeah, so it's between three guys here for me. And I think I'm going to go Rashad White, running back at Tampa Bay. This guy last year saw 58 targets, 50 receptions, and that was with, yeah, you had Brady there, right? But this is an opportunity now where it's a running back room where it's just him. They got Sean Tucker in undrafted free agency. They have Chase Edmonds. I'm not that worried about Chase Edmonds because we saw what Rashad White can do as a receiving back, and he has the size to be a 3 down back. I think this is his starting role to get taken from. Like he has to lose it. And I don't see that happening. He didn't get as much workload last year. I think this is the year we actually see him, and people slept on him. So this is going to be a steal at 105.
Yeah, Rashad White was a running back tough for me to gauge. Only just simply because it's not that I don't believe in the skill set. It's just like the meaningful opportunities are going to come in Tampa Bay.
Mm,
I know overall the offense isn't a bad offense when it comes to the skill set. Obviously Evans, Godwin, but the QB play, I mean, it looks bad. It looks rough. So like my only question about Rashad White was how many meaningful touches was he going to get this season?
mm,
But I do think the defense is good enough to keep them in games to where he will get touches, and I'm all for the PPR upside.
mm.
Um,
Right,
so I can get behind the Rashad White pick for sure. He's just somebody that I haven't been exposed to a whole lot. I don't have a lot of shares of Rashad White.
for sure. No, that it's scary coming in, for any team, going from Brady to someone else, right? So
That's scary,
um,
man.
it kind of changes the whole perspective because it's like, are they going to be a pass heavy game? Is it going to be a run heavy team? So I think the other guy I was going to choose was Damian Pierce, but Damian Pierce has some competition with Singletary, so
Yeah,
that's why I was like, okay, we're going go with the guy that might get the full workload, and I think Rashad might.
I'm gonna. You preach Desmond Ritter season, baby.
Okay,
I'm going Drake London.
okay, I
I'm
like
going
it.
Drake London here, and he came in the league. This Falcons offense. I mean, we got 3 straight first round picks for offensive skill set players. Um, Kyle Pitts, obviously, we could talk about Kyle Pitts for days, but with Drake London, man, when he went down and they made that switch to Desmond Ritter, I mean, it was a 29% target share. It was all Drake London's targets. Um, at a point, Drake London disappeared in the year. Early year, he was great. Then like I said, in the back half of the year, he really showed me what he could do. I mean, he was over like 14 and a half yards per catch. Obviously, the A dot was a little lower than what expected for a 6'5 receiver.
Mhm.
But let's talk about the yak numbers too. Uh, Drake London gets after it, man. I was a big fan of his coming out. Juju burned me as a USC wide receiver, and I'm a big Steelers fan, so he burned me a little bit. But I was
Yeah,
very impressed with Drake London's skill set, and he showed me a lot. I think he has the makings of a true wide receiver one in his career.
yeah. No, I mean, you know, I mean, I'm screaming Ritter season at the top of my chest, you know, and I say that because of a guy like Jake London on the outside. This is a top 15 wide receiver in Dynasty. He showed it last year. His health was there. He can, if he's not getting the separation, guess what? He's gonna boss all over you. You know, he's gonna get the catch. I think this is great, and especially with the healthy Kyle Pitts. Do remember Kyle Pitts was hurt, you know, some of last season. So with the healthy him, that's some targets or some defenders looking away because they're looking at Kyle Pitts. So Drake London may get some opportunity. Plus, you got Bijan Robinson in the backfield. There's more skill set around him now, where now the opportunity may come easier to him, which means it's a bigger success for the yards per carry, for the receptions, the targets, all that kind of stuff. So no, I love that pick.
Yeah, I mean, you are on Desmond Ritter, baby. You love some Desmond Ritter,
Top
and
15
I do,
season. Let's
and I
go.
do too. I do too. I don't mind it at all. I'm for it.
At 107, I mean, I'm going with the running backs, right? I want to take Ritter, you know, super flex leagues. I think, you know, I really believe in that. But again, if we're going off last season, you know, of redoing it, what we've seen, Damian Pierce is that guy. You know, he's a guy that didn't get a lot of touches in college, but he proved he can take that workload. He did get hurt, but he proved he could be a 3 down back. I'm not worried about them bringing in Devil Singletary. I think that's just kind of a reliever, if you will. But Damian Pierce is going to be the guy. And with new head coach D'Amico Ryans, this is a guy that came from San Francisco who loved to run the ball. He's going to utilize that ground and pound. Damian Pierce is the guy can get the receptions, but if not, Devin Singletary could come in and take a little bit of juice off of him, you know, just to help him out.
Yeah, and I want to say too, like it's always good to have a good north south in between the rock hard runner for especially for a rookie QB. This may make Stroud's transition a little easier. A lot of people also don't want to realize or like recognize the fact that even though we don't talk about his receiving profile, but in 13 games he had a sneaky 30 catches. You know, what I mean 40 targets, like some sneaky like little PPR upside. Obviously, Singletary probably to you reflects as more of the receiving option in this offense, but I think Damian Pierce has a very versatile skill set, and
Yeah.
I think he will be heavily utilized this year as well. I think he's a great running back for redraft and dynasty.
Agreed. Agreed. And you can get him late. You know, he's not going as one of the top 15, I don't even think top 20 running backs right now. So you can get him pretty late.
I think I have him at 25.
Yeah.
25.
So,
25 is where I have him. So we're at one. I got 1-8.
yep.
I'm going Kenny Pickett.
Okay.
I'm taking my guy. I believe, and I'm going
Yeah.
to tell you why. I saw a lot in the second half of the year. Let's throw out the I mean we talk about the Jets game. You see the bad. You see the four interception game in the Jets game. Played a top 5 defense as a rookie. I get it. But let's talk about the positives now. Let's talk about the positives. 4 game-winning drives in the 4 game-winning drives last year in the second half of the year. One of the best deep ball percentages in the league last year. Threw a beautiful deep ball. Very poised. Ability to move in the pocket. Ability to take off and improvise. He's showed that at Pitt. I love his skill set. Remember, he played behind the 28th ranked O line last year. We bring in 2 Pro Bowl guards. We draft Broderick Jones. On top of that, Najee will be healthy, and he has a let's be honest, he has an elite skill set or skill position group on the field with him at all times. It
Right.
all comes down to him transitioning into this Matt Canada offense and seeing where this can take him. I think Kenny as a QB is very, very talented. I think he got a lot of hate last year for no reason, and I'm willing to take him here. I mean, I think he's gonna have a great year too.
Yeah. No, I think that's a smart pick. You know, he did get the recognition of starting more games right then, Raiders. So he has the um IQ of what the offense needs to run about. When it comes with Najee Harris behind him and having Deontay Johnson, having George Pickens, on the other side, Pat Farmer. They also got Darnell Washington now. This could be a definitely turnaround season for him. To do it. The other teams they get some linebackers to go after him, so that'll be interesting to see, how they utilize those. But for Kenny Pickett, he has weapons that are smooth enough on the short routes that he doesn't need to do some deep balls or anything like that. He can just make it happen and let them do the play. So I
Right.
like that pick because I think this is a good season for him. I probably have him about top 25 this year.
Right. Yeah. Dynasty, I think I have him at like QB 19. Very, very, very cheap QB2 in Superflex as well.
For sure. Agreed.
So you got the 109, baby.
Oh, man. Again, between two people, the only reason why I'm not saying Ritter is because we didn't know they got Bijan yet, right? But he has this area around him. But I'm probably going Traylon Burks. I think that's a wide receiver where this is his time. Just like I was talking about Rashad White, it's his job to take. Guess what? It's Traylon Burks' job to lose when it comes to the wide receiver one role, whether it be Tannehill, Levis, or even Willis, any of them, because they all know how to throw it deep. And Traylon Burks is a great wide receiver to have on the opposite side for a quarterback because of what he can do down the field. He's an aggressive catcher. He's a big body. He can make the play. He can become a quarterback's best friend, as in a safety net. He averaged over 13 yards per carry. We didn't see him for a full season. If he is healthy, he could be a dominant wide receiver in this league.
Absolutely. Traylon Burks was my wide receiver one going into last year. I mean, a different kind of athlete, an AJ Brown type mold type receiver, body style, the way they used him. I have no problem with this. I mean, if he got his playing weight down because he was supposed to be playing at like 220, if he gets his playing weight down and he can beat the asthma issues and just work on his game, I don't see how he doesn't succeed. I love Traylon Burks. That's a great pick.
So,
And I'm gonna wrap it up with this guy here. Honorable mention, I will say that Christian Watson was my thought here, but I'm going to go with George Pickens. I can't preach Kenny Pickett and not preach to me his overall dynasty wide receiver one for the future, in my opinion.
mhm.
Um, you talk about George Pickens, a lot of people are out on him. His ADP is lowered, so let's
Mhm.
not talk about the ADP inflation no more. But let's also talk about let's talk about the explosiveness. Let's talk about the 10 yards per catch. Let's talk about the 15 and a half yards or 15 and a half yards per catch, 15 or 10 yards per target. Let's talk about those numbers. Let's talk about let's talk about the elite catch radius. Let's talk about the fact that Matt Canada limited his route tree. He only was running go routes and I mean 10-yard comebacks and slants. That's
Okay.
it. That's really it. There was nothing unique about his game. His game didn't stretch out and it didn't allow him to play at his full skill set. But we look at the miraculous catches on Sunday. We look at the explosiveness on Sunday. We look at the elite catch radius. We look at the size, the alpha type body style. George Pickens is going to be a star. I'm telling everybody buy George Pickens.
Yeah, I was pointing that. That's the picture of OBJ over here. But I mean, it's the same catch, right? Where he just did that stretch, and it's I need to get that catch, man. That was one of those crucial catch moments, and uh, a phenomenal athlete. He's a big body. He's aggressive, but yet he also runs agile. He's an agile athlete, and he can make it happen. And if they are getting Deontay Johnson, which they will, because he still grants the targets, right? George Pickens is the guy that you're going to go at. Whether he needs to get the separation with the stretch himself or whether he's just going to snag over the defensive back that's on him. A great choice. And yeah, I think, Kenny Pickett is one of your guys. George Pickett is at cost a good wide receiver you can get.
Yeah, and the last one I want to say too. Also remember George Pickens first year coming back, he was drafted off of ACL tear. Just remember, obviously that plays a role into health as well. So just keep that in mind too. I look for a huge breakout from that offense in year two.
Yeah,
Um, SC, I appreciate it. I know you're on a time crunch. I know
for sure.
we had to get this thing in real quick.
For sure.
Uh, I appreciate you being here, bro. First time on the pod, man. It was a beautiful, beautiful experience. Please come back, man. Please come
Yeah,
back.
bro. Yeah, man, we'll definitely get some other times together. Just get our schedulings in
Yeah,
accordance here, West Coast, East Coast here. But
yeah, for
hey,
sure.
when we combine, it's that collision in the middle. So it's always great, man. I appreciate you having me
Absolutely,
on, and can't wait for the next time. And good luck in SFB, man.
absolutely, bro. You too, man. Good luck.
Bye, bro.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. We appreciate the time. I know it was a quick podcast. Like I said, Ryan had some work schedule changes, and SC was only available for like a 25-minute window. So I just want to tell you that wraps up our 2022 series. We redrafted the first round of the 2022 draft class. Thank you very much for sticking it out through this series. I'm not going to share Ryan's news. I'm going to let him share that. But thank you, RPO Football. Thank you, Yards Per Fantasy. We appreciate the podcast or the platform. We appreciate the support. And until next time, we are out.